Hello, good morning, and welcome to Promise Resource Network. I'm Jane, and this is our time to get creative together. We are at the picnic tables under the trees, and it just feels really good out here. I'm super grateful to have this shade, so grateful to have this shade. Hopefully you can hear me well, and we have good connection, because I know last week was a little bit of a challenge, and so let me know if it goes wonky or anything, because I'm on my phone's hotspot. I'm learning these things. So something that I was wanting to talk about and create through is a little bit of a continuation on what we just talked about on Body, Mind, Spirit, about reinventing ourselves. Oh, good. Charles and Mama Jane are here. Hey, y'all. Okay, good. You can hear me well. Awesome. Thank you.
Hey, Mama Jane.
And so this notion of reinventing ourselves. And oftentimes, I've had old thoughts, old beliefs that pervade into my life and really prevent me from being the reinvented version of myself. So what I want to do today, we also have coloring books. So anything that you want to do during this time that lets you be more mindful, mindless, mind open, let your creative energy just come out and just be. That's what this time is for. It's to be. What I am inviting anyone to do that would like to, and I have some blank paper here if you want to write me, is I want to put in the middle of this paper a word that is in alignment with who I am becoming. And a word that came to me earlier today was harmony. That I am tired of fighting. I'm tired of fighting with myself, with the system, with my partner, with my parents. I'm tired of being in resistance to so much in life, because life is ever changing and chaotic. So I was like, this word harmony is what's coming in for me. So I'm going to write the word harmony in the very middle of my paper. My intention is to do it in bubbly, bubbly kind of letters, and kind of see, and then I'm going to draw and color around it. Hello, beauty. Hi. How are you?
I'm so good.
You want to join?
Yeah.
If you want to grab a coloring book, you can either color or here's a piece of paper.
Mandalas are kind of my thing right now.
Right?
Thank
so
you.
You're welcome. So we can either color whatever. There's a bunch of markers down there, crayons,
Awesome.
pencils. Otherwise, I'm gonna write the word harmony in the middle of my piece of paper, and then kind of create around it.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking about reinventing ourselves, and
what I'm doing now.
Right, and there's old pervasive ways of being that just keep coming up, right? And
Yes.
so my intention is to create something to remind me of the underlying frequency and intention of what I am still always going to be trying to reinvent myself to. And so today is harmony.
I love that.
Right? Good morning. May I say your name?
Alan.
May I say it on here?
Hey, Alan.
Hey, Alan.
Hey, Alan. I'm Ariel.
Sorry, Alan.
Ariel, like the mermaid.
I didn't respect your wellness. My wellness.
Yeah, that's
You
beautiful.
remember when you and Marvin said, hey, I'm riding right now, I can't take you. Yeah, and I didn't respect that, you was reaching out to me to guide me along with what was going on with you, but I wasn't paying attention to you because I was all caught up in what was going on with me.
I can relate to that.
Sure.
I've been there myself.
Well, I'm just saying, I didn't mean to do it to make y'all feel dis-ease. You know what I mean? Because you my friend from long back. 3 years ago.
Yeah.
I met
That's
you.
awesome.
Marvin met him like 2 years ago. He the one told me, check your attitude is a astronaut term. He says,
He
how
just
you
talked
doing
about that
out there?
recently.
How you doing out there? He says, well, I'm checking my attitude. Yeah, and Marvin taught me that. You know what you do?
No. What?
You do everything that you said that you worry that you don't do. But you know what? You're not new at it. This is not your first time. And remember you took me to my storage and
Yeah,
everything?
yeah, yeah.
All for $5.
Aw, that's some good support right there.
I didn't
All
know.
for $5.
Yeah.
I would have had to pay somebody each one again. And guess what? I appreciate it.
Well, I'm glad I could help. You know.
No, you already told me that. All right? And so guess what? Check, and check. You check all your checklists off. You was courteous, you was kind, and you showed all those things. You said you was worried about that you don't think that you do for everybody,
We got some
but
others here too.
you do that for everybody. In that order. And all in that order.
So
Sorry.
let's see though. That's okay. Let's see. So I want to share that Mama Jane says hi to everybody.
Oh,
Man,
And Charles is asking what my word is. That his word is tolerance. My word is harmony.
nice.
This is harmony for me, and I intentionally wrote it with like all like funky
Ooh,
shaped
I like
letters.
it. I was gonna do mine in my fancy cursive.
Yeah.
Did you have anything simpler?
Than those.
There's some like sea life ones here, but I don't know if that's gonna be any simpler.
There's some little ones. I'm not.
Yeah, I can get overwhelmed. It usually takes me about a week to finish an entire mandala.
Right.
The hand
Not
is
that
like
ambitious.
crazy. I gotta go tag the thing. BM.
Well, do you want to?
Hmm?
If you take a break, if Alan can flip through this one, and
Right.
if there's one that you want, you can just tear the page out.
Yep, that's what I did.
Yeah. Because I feel like this one has
No.
small ones.
I saw this one last time.
Oh, you did?
I
And
did
that's why
pull-
you earmarked
So I'm
it?
curious,
I did pull
Charles,
out one
what does
page.
tolerance mean to you? What inspires that
You wanna
word
look at another
to you?
one?
No, I'm having like round
Analysis to paralysis.
that
Been there.
it's been broken by 9 times. It's been broken.
So I'm curious. So whether you are coloring in a coloring book or you're creating a new thing, well, it's all new anyway. Let's be honest.
Mhm.
And so this idea of we're reinventing ourselves, and there's a word that's going to be your touchstone word that you're going to keep going back to over and over again, at least for the next series of nows. Perhaps it's this year, maybe it's just today, maybe it's for the rest of your life, right? What word is coming up for you all? Charles shared that his is tolerance, which I asked him if he would be willing to expand on that,
Mhm.
like what tolerance means to him. So what is there a word that any of y'all like that you have like kind of in your mind or heart that you want to have as your touchstone? Compassion?
Well,
Mm, We-
Forgiveness for me has been a big one, and I think that compassion is a great way to forgive in a very peaceful, self-restoring manner.
mm.
I would feel better if I can go back to them days when I showed out, you know, and think and land my plane better.
Well, I understand that, right? This desire to like go back in time and change our actions, and because we can't do that, we can do it in the quantum, but we can't do it in the
You want
physical.
to check those out?
Also, would you like would you like a blank piece of paper
Yeah, if
instead?
you just want a blank piece, that's cool too. Yeah.
Um,
There you go.
so we can't go back in time in our physical. We can go back in the quantum. That's another topic. That's another experience. That being said, so if we can't go back in time, then what if you were to go back in time, what would you be then? Like what word would be what you would have been then that you can be now?
So in a healthy, great state, right?
I mean, more concerning. I'd be concerning of other people's feelings more than mine. It's a selfish game.
So maybe would it be concern? Because to me, concern feels like worry, right?
Mhm.
And nobody needs worry on them. So what about-
How about it? It also has a meaning of care.
So what about
Concern.
care?
Well, yeah, because more concerning is it's like you put effort towards it. Care is like the word.
Uh-huh.
That's what he's doing. He's care. He's using care. You know,
So you'd be more caring
well,
or
I'm
compassionate.
more compassionate.
Okay.
Better word.
Okay.
Thank you.
So your word that will be your touchdown, and you can change it. But so you could have compassion or compassionate as the touchdown, which is interesting because Alan said that his touchdown word is compassionate as well. And what did you say yours was?
I'm working on forgiveness. I think of just finally sorting through all of the childhood stuff. This is the first time I've done like a very regular therapy for like a year.
Yeah.
So it's a hard process at first, right? Because you unveil these kind of ugly feelings in you that you don't love because you're angry and all these things. But yeah, I think I've gotten to a point of forgiveness and compassion. And a big thing that people don't realize is that forgiveness does not require reconciliation.
Oh
So
yeah,
that's a
like not
hard-
even a little bit.
Yeah, like that's a hard, I guess, barrier because I thought that they would come together, and I just realized no, it doesn't always work like that.
So here's a question: what's the difference between? And I would like to know what you two think
Oh,
as
yeah,
well.
sorry,
Like I would
we
like
can't
to
hear.
keep y'all in this loop as well.
Yeah, we can
Um,
also speak.
Yeah, we can also like scoot that table down
Yeah.
if you want.
If you want to,
Yeah.
go
Yeah,
for
but
it.
I want to hear what y'all
I'll
say.
pretend
Yeah.
that I'm helping with one arm.
I know. My mind is bringing the table closer.
There we go.
Look at that.
Perfect.
Yes,
Yeah, that
thank
was
you.
great.
Look at that. Brilliance in action.
Yeah.
So if you have a word, right, as you're reinventing yourselves that you would be more of, right? And so let's see, we have compassionate, we have forgiving. So here's a question.
yeah,
What's
yeah.
the difference between being forgiving and being accepting?
Yeah, I think like reconciliation, acceptance doesn't necessarily have to come at the same time either.
Mm-hmm.
In life, there are just unforgivable things that happen, whether it's a situation or a person actively doing it. But I just think, yeah, it's hard to say. It's a very hard, yeah.
I think forgiving is a
Something seems
external
like
force.
you're not
Oh my
putting-
gosh, thank you.
you're not putting no effort
Okay, I'll
Does that make sense?
effort in your yeah.
Does that make sense?
I didn't hear you. What was that again? I'm sorry.
I said I think forgiving is a external force and acceptance is an internal force.
Ooh,
Oh,
I don't know if y'all
Yeah,
heard that. I'm
that-
going to repeat what Kurt
That's
said.
what he said.
Said that forgiveness is an
Thank you, brother.
external force and acceptance is an internal force. That's pretty potent.
Yeah, yeah.
Charles says that tolerance, I asked him to expand on tolerance. Tolerance to him says to feel comfortable with others' opinions and actions.
Mm.
So what's the difference between tolerance and acceptance?
I think acceptance is you don't feel
Yeah,
bad
you-
about it. You
Yeah.
just accepted it. You tolerate a
just-
behavior that's
It's just
you
That
know
you don't like.
right.
it's the non action kind of part of your kind of interaction with it.
Uh-huh.
You just not gonna lift a hand, or you're not gonna walk a feet, or you're not gonna take the time to say indifferent.
Yeah.
Yes. And Charles says, talking about forgiveness, forgiving implies that you or they were wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Accepting is non-judgmental.
Oh.
So then I go back to tolerance. Is tolerance a word or a feeling that would be before forgiveness? Would it be I tolerate and then I forgive and then I accept? Or is it do I forgive or is it then, or would it be like I forgive and then I tolerate and then I accept? And like, because to me, acceptance would be like the goal where I don't have anything but neutral feelings.
Ain't tolerance. I mean, acceptance is go ahead. Well, it is tolerance. You know?
Sure.
Tolerance is a trash word. You have to
Yeah,
tolerate
pretty
anything.
much. Yeah,
I agree.
That's-
I agree.
I
with that.
agree.
It's a
I-
negative connotation.
When I
I'll
hear it, it's
tolerate
just
it.
Hang on, I
like,
want to hear what you
no.
said one at a time. Will you expand on that? That tolerance is a, what did you call it?
Trash word.
Trash word.
A trash word. Will you explain why that feels like that to you? I'm
You
curious
gotta think about what you tolerate is like, one is an external force.
what you tolerate.
It's something
as an
that you
external
don't
force.
have to accept.
You
So
don't
you
have to
You
accept.
have to accept.
Exactly. I don't accept it, but I
okay.
tolerate it.
Earlier in our earlier session in the Mind Body and Soul group, we were talking about how when you're going through something in that moment, maybe that person makes you feel like a certain way, and you're like, "Yo, I'm feeling this type of way." I have to tell you how. No, I'm feeling some type of way. I'm feeling some type of way. But if I have to go to that building or those people, I'm gonna wear my mask of love and learn and deal with it and come home and heal. But you got to be strong enough to do that.
Yeah.
And if you're not strong enough, it's gonna mess you up.
Uh-huh.
I feel like, so this is what I feel like. I know you can't hear them well. I'm trying to repeat what they're saying. Let's see. You don't. Charles says you don't have to be in agreement. Okay, so check this out. Charles says you don't have to be in agreement with tolerance. Acceptance implies agreement. I don't agree with that, and I say that because I accept that there is war in the world.
Right.
I just accept it. It's a fact. I accept that there is gravity. I have zero feelings around that. Do I wish gravity were lighter? Sometimes I do. Sometimes I get so floated I wish gravity were more, right?
Mm.
And I still accept it. It is just what it is.
Mhm.
Now, if I am feeling like I'll tolerate gravity, I am having internal resistance to what it is.
Mhm.
So I can tolerate Daniel. Right. Now, does that mean that does that feel good? Does it feel like to me, and I'm curious if anyone else feels this, because I know Charles doesn't. So I'm because we're all right.
Yeah, sure.
To me, tolerance feels like my heart loves you, but I'm not going to hug you. To me, if I accept you, my heart loves you, and I would hug you.
Yeah.
To me, forgiveness is my heart isn't fully there, and I may or may not hug you. That's what. And when I say hug, I mean take my energy in action and bring them closer to me.
It's kind of like a boundary thing. You're setting boundaries, you know, and the whole tolerance thing, it goes way past boundaries. It's like I don't like what you do, but you can be around me. You know, it's like you're name calling. You know what I'm saying? But not name calling.
Yeah.
You know, you're copping out. It's like a cop out.
Tolerance feels like a cop out.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. We'll get later.
No, I go something.
Yeah, I think that in our culture.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's a question.
Copping out on Daniel's life.
Okay, so here's a question about tolerance. Because I have been tolerated by people in my life, and it does not feel good.
Absolutely.
It feels like they still are holding a judgment upon me,
Judgment.
and
walking
that
on
they are
eggshells.
and they are a favor by
Uh-huh.
tolerating me.
Tolerating.
And
That's word.
Are they enabling you for the behavior that you don't want to hear or change or recognize?
ooh, are they enabling the behavior? I like that too.
It could be detrimental.
Yeah.
Right. I mean,
Well, an enabler, yeah, it can be detrimental.
it's an enabler. It's an
If you're going to get the
enablement.
booze or the drugs or whatever for someone because they can't.
Eh,
I mean, that's an enabler.
That's a touchy subject.
And it's voiced. It's an
It's
enablement.
forced.
And voiced.
Oh, voiced.
Yeah, voiced. I mean, it's slammed in your face.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And
So
you what? I don't know.
I feel like in our culture, because and I don't know if it's going to be, I don't know if tolerance is like this in other cultures, right? But in the North American culture,
Don't say that again.
I feel like in the North American culture, tolerance has been used in a way that has actually continued to support oppression
Definitely.
and things like that. You know, the systemic racism. I think that that's where tolerance has kind of worn its shirt of like, I'll tolerate you, but you're still gonna be like me.
Yeah.
You know, or you're still gonna play by my rules, and I'll tolerate you if you complain about it. You know, so that to me is where tolerance feels.
It's the difference between
And oh, go ahead. Well, I was just going to repeat kind of what Charles said about it to see this a different perspective of it, which is to feel comfortable with others' opinions and actions.
Sure.
So, but it's not. You don't have to be in agreement with tolerance.
No.
Which is, I think that is the point of tolerance, is that you don't agree with it and you accept it. But there's a difference between tolerance and acceptance.
What about non? You don't accept it, you know, and you walk away. Oh, that's all you have to have for me is a tolerance for me.
Where I like a job or something, and you tolerate your boss.
Oh no. It's too many out there. I put in the application. I get one by Friday. I put in 10 applications. I bet it's like 2 of them called when I'm having an interview with one of them.
Well, that's good. I wish I had that confidence.
No, it happens. You put in 10 applications for a week. Every day you put in 10 applications.
I believe it.
When you go to your job, I promise you, someone's going to be calling you and they're going to be saying, hey, I just looked over your application. When can you come in for an interview? And it doesn't happen to me every time. And that's what I'm saying.
Amazing.
Every time. It's because if you put the initiative and everything to change your situation,
sure,
and you show up every time for it, you know what I'm saying? Guess what? In return, just because you showed up, you're going to be rewarded.
I do.
Are you saying is that an expectation?
It's just facts. I learned that in a Goodwill vocational thing. They say put in 10 applications for a week. And I've been doing that, and this is way back in the 80s when, you know, you sit there with that monitor that's black and green, you know what I'm saying? And you get, this is supposed to be a computer, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's expectation.
So
it's just facts.
You have generational PTSD. You lived longer than us.
Yeah.
So you've been through different times.
Well, look, I have kids. You know, they need to be close,
now,
and they want Jordans.
Clause, though. We're talking universal. You know what I'm saying? I have kids.
So
I'm gonna go get it.
And let me go, and I'm gonna say this one last thing. The way society's set up, my name is Curtis Irvin. When an employer looks at my name, I'm a go. If they look at Tyquan, you know, Johnson, they're gonna.
My name is Rodney Griffin.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means.
That part.
Yeah, I think what you're saying.
So going back to this, you know, reinventing ourselves, right? I want to share what Charles said, and I want to go into the generational PTSD, because they can't hear very well what y'all are saying. So I definitely want to make sure that we hold this space so that every one person that is speaking can be best heard, so that I can also relay what you're sharing for those that are on here.
Sorry.
No, don't be sorry. It's all good.
Don't
be sorry, damn it.
Let me be apologetic then.
No.
Yeah, be apologized.
You don't have to do anything like that. So Charles says, in this example of tolerance, I can tolerate your belief that the world is flat, but I don't have to accept it. This is the thing. Tolerance goes for acceptance, or it goes to people. So in our culture, tolerance has been for the people that have the belief. So like, I can accept you for believing, Rodney, that the earth is flat. I don't accept that belief as my own. Right?
No, yeah, you said that this morning.
Yeah, so then am I tolerating you because you have a belief that is different than mine? Or am I accepting this is your belief, period? I still accept you. I accept that this is your belief. I'm not going to accept it as my own. Acceptance is not taking something on as your own. I want to be really clear about that. if I accept that there is child abuse, that doesn't mean that it needs to continue, that I am gonna support it. It doesn't mean that I then will do it, or that I would rejoice if I found out someone did it. It means that I accept that it is what it is, and then what do I do to move forward and through it?
Mhm.
So I think that there's just like this nuance of a difference between toleration and acceptance, and that kind of goes into what Curtis was sharing, which was about generational PTSD. So I want to share a little bit about generational PTSD, and then I would like to have others' perspectives, because I'm so blessed and grateful that we have a myriad of generations of human beings here in this circle. So to me, generational PTSD is basically, may I give your age-ish?
Sure.
What bracket are you in?
50s.
50s.
Well,
So
middle 50s.
okay, so we have a mid-50s human
Mhm.
who has lived
About to have a birthday.
through their life experience. Now, not just that, but he has been able to live through the whole generation of everybody in that timeline, which means that he may have had experience with racism and oppression and abuse. I'm just pulling these out. I'm not saying or
You're
assuming.
correct.
That being said, he wasn't the only one. I would say about 90% of the human beings, especially in like bodies, were experiencing the same thing at the time. And because we are collectively one, we're one human consciousness, that if one is suffering, we're all suffering. So with generational PTSD, I am not only healing the sins of my father, how this works, but I am healing the sins, the mistakes, the traumas, the abuses of all of those that came before me. The longer I've been on this plane, this life, that means that I have more generations that I am healing through, that my body has taken on the traumas with and of. So I share that, one, because I would like to hear more experiences and thoughts around this, and kind of bringing it back to what we're doing. You know, we have a mindset, a focus on a word to be our touchstone, so that as we're going through these healings of my own personal traumas, generational traumas, collective traumas, the earth trauma itself, because the earth is like raped all day, every day, without any consent. That's another point. You know, we have all of these traumas that we're moving through. So if I can have a touchstone of harmony, then that's going to get me through my life. Because I'm still going to want to be me and express me, and like, I'm so pissed off at you right now. Hug me, go away, come here, man. You know, but if I can remember that harmony, I might be able to come back into balance with myself.
Remember the Marvel comic Thanos? You remember?
I never saw it, Rodney.
I know, but guess what?
I never saw it.
The
Don't ruin it.
50% of the population died on all these planets and everything in the universe because of that glove he had. He just snapped his finger, and 50% of the planets in the universe lost people.
50%.
50%
No,
of people. No, just 50%.
Either way.
Well, when he was destroying everything,
It was a lot of damage.
He was trying to heal. He was trying to heal the planet because all the resources of his planet was, harvested.
So then, okay, so tell me, Alan, what is your idea around generational PTSD?
Oh.
Because you have lived in a generation, you've lived in a generation of your life experience. Hang on, y'all. I can't, only because there's a lot, and then like there's just a lot of sound and stuff. But I would like to give Alan an opportunity, if he would like to share what thoughts or feelings he has around generational trauma.
I'm not connecting with anything. What do you mean by generation?
I think they weren't quite sure what we meant by that.
We have lived through, I lived through 3 generations in my, 50 years 50 plus years, and you are a little way older than me, so you may got 4 or 5 generations that you don't know.
Don't do him like that.
Well, I'm making it clear to him that one generation was created, then another generation you saw was created from that generation, then another generation was created from that generation, then another created.
It's like it's kind of like how there was a generation where like what were they called, the latchkey kids?
Yeah.
But before that, because in the generation that preceded that, there were more
That's
of
the
2-parent households. And once more parents and family units were splitting apart, then you had more of this like latchkey kid term. There were kids before that, but generationally speaking, children of the 80s were starting to really fall into this, what became a generational trauma of being left alone and maybe not feeling cared for or watched or whatever.
Mhm.
So these are like generational traumas. You know, you've lived through witnessing wars or a war, you know, on some level. So I didn't know if you had any thought about it.
I got a friend that's 91 years old that went to Korea. He went to Korea, and he done served in 2 branches of the service. Named Robert. Yeah. I can't pronounce his last name. It's crazy. It's like anyway. But that's the thing. He done lived through maybe 7 generations
Mm-hmm.
that done created a generation, and then that generation created another generation. So
Is generational also like applying to our ancestors too?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Oh,
that's what I was
sure.
trying to tell y'all.
Yes.
Yeah, I
Yeah, I
think
mean-
that's my whole
that
point.
helped me conceptualize it a little more. It's not only what we've been through, no matter how old we are, it's what
well,
our ancestors
I mean,
might
Will
have
you
we got
expand?
the
Will you, hang on,
backlash
hang on.
of it.
Will
Yeah,
you
sorry.
expand more on that, please?
what just my description of what I consider it to be. So yeah, basically I can experience something. I'm only 31, so I've had, maybe you could say, 2 generations, because I could have my own family right now. But I have inherited, just like all of us, things that our ancestors went through. Both of my grandparents lost homes in the Depression. So having 7 children and not being able to support them or even give them a home for a little bit is terrifying. Same with African Americans and slavery. You have inherited a lot of really
Backlash.
Yes.
What the
sure.
the
Yes,
fallout?
exactly. The Holocaust is a
The
great
whole, yeah,
example.
we've got this talking about.
Yeah,
Great
the
example.
fallout
That's in
behind
your DNA.
That's what,
behind
yeah, that's what I'm
You know what I'm
saying.
saying?
So
generation.
Yeah. How do you break from
So, okay, so
Yeah.
the way that through my studies and experience, the way to break generational PTSD is to go into the epigenetics, because we carry around the genetics of all that is.
Yeah.
So that means that like I have not just my genetics that says that I'm going to have my mother's brown eyes,
Mhm.
but I also have her epigenetics, which is basically the equivalent to a storyline.
Yep.
The storyline, and I'll use this as an example, I'm not saying it's true, that my mother has, if this is the case, my mother has a deep-seated belief system that no one is going to stay with her, like abandonment, right? Abandonment stories in her mind.
Issues.
Right, yeah, because because of this experience and that experience and the other experience.
Mhm.
So she's going to have an epigenetic. It's in her DNA, and maybe it's because her mother was abandoned as a child,
Mhm.
right? So now it's like it's gone through the
Mhm.
storyline. So now I would maybe have never been abandoned, right? Maybe not, but I still have this subconscious belief system. It's in the epigenetics in my DNA that says someone's going to abandon me, right? Someone's going to abandon me. Everyone's going to leave me. I don't know. The community's going to turn their back, whatever. So to heal that generational trauma
Mhm.
is to go into the epigenetics, which is exactly what we were talking about in Body, Mind, Spirit
Mhm.
when we were talking about shifting the mental body, putting a new belief system in enough until you feel it
Mhm.
and take it on as your new truth. And that's how we heal through that generational PTSD, is through the epigenetics in our own body.
So what you're saying is, Project Kid mom raised her in the project, and she's inspired to be in the project. She's gonna get pregnant, have kids, and she's gonna get her own project. And this was the fear of welfare.
Yeah.
we're gonna
Okay.
birth
Yeah.
people that living in the project to want to live in the project.
Mhm.
$14 rent and have 10 kids and $2,000 in food stamps
Mhm.
a month.
Yeah.
So I get that. I am witness to that.
Mhm.
I have fed some of them kids with the food stamps that are collected from them.
Mhm.
I don't help them get their furniture out the house because they can't pay $14 rent.
Yeah. And that's the
Witness.
thing, you know, these genetics, these storylines, these belief systems that we take on from our ancestors and from the not just from my own ancestors, but from the ancestors that have surrounded me, which call that from religion, call that from politics, call that from the educational system, call it from whatever source that it came from. So
Yeah.
then it's like, okay, so now I get to not only heal and shift through all my own personal genetic shit, but through all the others, which means that I get to have a compassionate and accepting lens so I can see others in their space. You know, like, oh, well, this person that's making this choice, you know, is it a trauma that's created this choice? Probably.
Yeah.
You know, especially if it's a choice that you're watching someone like hurt themselves. It's like, oh, that came out of trauma. It may have been theirs. It may have been their parents. It may have been the neighbors that they witnessed.
My parents were both alcoholics.
Were they?
My sister was one. My grandpa was one. I was.
That's really hard.
I'm at the end of it.
Good for you.
How's that feeling?
I mean, you watch it every day.
The power behind creating a new legacy is a lot.
When you say that it's a lot to be aware of the power of creating your own legacy, is your a lot like, whoa, that's too much? Or is it like, yeah, my God, it's so good? Or is it like, how is that a lot for you?
It's like, I don't deserve it.
What a beautiful awareness.
With that. Yeah.
Oh,
For sure.
I don't know what you touched on. But when you talk about family generations and all this and that, I come from that too. My family was the worst ones. I don't want to get into all that. But when you say genetics and stuff, that's why people used to tell me when I was going, oh, you're going to be this like your father, you're going to be this like your father, because I look like my father. But it's this and that.
That's why I never named my son after me.
Right.
Can't be me.
Right. You got to be yourself.
Like molestation in the family is like a regular thing when people talk about it. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, me too. Like, what you mean? Wait a minute.
I was adopted by my grandmother because my mother didn't get. My father was in Fort Jackson at the time. My two brothers was born in Fort Jackson, but guess what? They're not my father's real kids. So guess who was the real kid? You know what I'm saying? He was the one that was adopted by the grandmother, so she can obtain welfare.
That's how you, yeah, I'm glad.
That's a survival tactic.
Yeah.
Which feeds into
And she
Yeah,
told
well,
me,
it's
if you
generational.
leave here and go get married, you will never have a place
I
to
can't hear
stay.
everybody when they talk.
I'm just going to say this, and this is a hurtful thing. It still haunts me. She told me, because she had me, when she got too old and everything, that I would be, you know, a shut-in and take care of them two old people. And I went and got married. And she said this heartful thing, you know, if you leave here now, you never can come back because nobody would let us to take you in.
Think about that. How many times have y'all been told something and you're like, and you were told it by an official, meaning someone in your family, a doctor, a teacher, a lover, a parent, a neighbor, someone that has on a name tag that says they know whatever it is that they say they're talking about. And they tell you something like, you're stupid, or you're not worth this, or you're always going to be messed up. Or they give you a label, right? Here's your disability.
Yeah.
You know, here's your addiction, here's your label. and then we believe it. And we believe it for the rest of our lives because we don't know that we have the ability to change it.
That's just,
Understood.
yeah.
It's almost like learned helplessness,
Emotion
right?
thing,
Yes.
I know,
No.
I know.
Yeah, that was deep. I didn't even know where that came from.
Yeah, that's like
Yeah.
you were saying that about family persons and stuff like that.
Mm.
Family still like that still exists to
Come on.
this day.
So think
I'm
about
glad you said that.
what you said it triggered you and it made you run to an outside source. So what you have to do, because I denied you, how are you going to fix that? How are you going to heal?
I'm maintain.
No.
I'm a-
You know what you do?
Ooh,
Can we keep it on the eye?
Breathe.
So
Yeah.
can we keep, I would like to share this perspective, whatever advice we give, because it always comes from a place of love and experience. Like, let's be honest, we're all having our own lived experience and we've all lived through a bunch of stuff. So whatever advice we give, I would like to request that we keep it on the I. So it's what I do in that time is I take a breath. Because oftentimes it can be very triggering, and I'm going to keep this on the I for me. If someone tells me, well, if you just do this or you should do that and it'll be fine, they may be right, but just having someone tell me what I should do doesn't work for me. So we'll just keep everything on the I.
Yeah, thank you for reminding me that because see, I got to get most back into recovery, and I start going back to meetings, and when I talk about something, I need to start talking about me. That's where I can work on me if I keep the focus on me, and I struggle daily about remembrance because I've had a eidetic memory. It's like it was told today. I can even smell how it smelt that day. That's how good I remember. It was
Which is such a gift.
almost a rainy
It's
day.
a blessing and a curse, right?
Yeah. And you know what? And this is a true thing. I didn't cry for my mother's funeral. I didn't cry for my brothers, my cousins. I didn't cry at none of them funerals and everything. And just yesterday, I was talking about how I am taking things out of my life so I can come here and recover and heal. The wound is deep and it's slow on the recovery right now. It's just sometimes I go back and I'm not perfect. I'm trying. And I only say trying because I'm new at this shit. Hey, I'm trying to be nice.
We're looking for progress, not
I know how to
perfection.
say that. You know how
Apologize
to
about
say
my
that.
approach.
Yeah.
My
What's
father, my mom
wrong
passed
with you?
away.
You
I was
ain't
living with
been
my
raised
father.
right?
He told me,
You fail.
get over it, she's gone.
Huh?
And my
And
father,
Dad
when
told
my
me
mom
the same.
passed away, my father told me, get over it, she's gone. And my father went to the army, so he pumped, and this is why a lot of my relationships fail because I'm too aggressive. I mean, I move with love, but to me, it's like I've never been able to sit in my stuff and heal through it. It's like, get over it. Like you said, you never heal. My mama passed away when I was 18. I had to forget her. It was embedded in my mind to forget her. That's how I moved on. My father passed away year before last, 4 days after my birthday, and the one who raised me, my grandmother, she passed 3 months after that. He killed innocent. You know,
I was
Yeah.
I had to
okay.
argue.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
In my mind,
Yeah.
get over it.
Look,
Hang on. I would like to give this space.
Go ahead.
You just shared something kind of big.
Right.
So I would just like to be with that for a moment,
Okay.
all of us. Because I think that we all have an experience that we could say like me too in some way, shape, or form. And just kind of recognizing all of this untapped grief that many of us have because we were taught through others' lenses who were conditioned themselves to hide from the human nature of feeling. And that is where we get to heal the generational traumas.
That's a good.
Oh,
Yeah, she
I
tell
was rebel the whole way because you know what? I was a child that was given away. So guess what? I had to take on all the adult responsibility. I was never a child. I had to fix the
yeah,
toys
grown
at
Yeah.
10 years old and everything for my brothers and everything. So they killed Santa Claus. Santa Claus.
Aw.
They
No,
killed
not
the,
all
Nothing.
Santa
they
Clauses are
keep the
dead.
Easter bunny
Yeah.
because I
Easter
had to
Bunny's still
hide.
alive, I swear.
I had to hide the eggs, so they killed the Easter bunny from him. So I always had to be put in the position to have the control because my mom suffered from mental disorder. She was mentally manic depressive at first at young age, and then she came schizoaffective. No, she changed schizophrenic. I'm schizoaffective.
Okay.
She's schizophrenic, and there's a difference on that. Okay? No, it's always was in her. It was just like they tell me I'm slight bipolar. It's just not coming to,
It's not like the big blossom bipolar. It's like
No.
I'm feeling it and I'm feeling this.
It's not just coming out. A little by little, it's coming out. So, yeah,
Yeah, you right.
slight bipolar. I said, how in the hell can you be slight bipolar? He said, well, it's
Oh,
just,
there's a
it's
whole
not-
spectrum, honey.
No, it's,
There are
just,
so
it's,
many
it's
types.
just not
I
developing.
found that out too.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, I understand that. Because, yeah, my reaction to stuff, because of my age, and I saw it, and I done it, oh, yeah, I got a quick response on every fucking thing. I'm sorry. to say
Yes.
Jen,
Rodney, not this Rodney, another Rodney. Hey, thanks
Hey,
for joining
Rodney.
us.
okay.
We are open. Yes, we're at 2224 The Plaza.
that. Oh,
So
I
you
know
can
that, Rodney.
so you can definitely come in
He saw
and
me.
get peer hang on just a second and get any peer support that you need or want. You can participate in the classes. Many of the classes that I offer,
Oh, you're
because
fine.
we only have limited
No
spacing,
worries.
is something that you can register online for. It doesn't mean you have to register online, but yeah. So I'd love to see you.
Jane, let me just speak on this.
Yes,
too.
please, Daniel.
Yeah, he was right on family trauma, family issues, and all that stuff. Me too. My dad, with my mom, he raised my older brothers and sisters, and he used to beat on them, jump on them, but they weren't none of his kids. So, my older brother, I look like my father. Like I said, he took it out on me.
I bet.
Because what my father did to him, only what my father did to him, that was not his father. But besides that, we spoke in 20, 30 something years. So, he don't talk to me, I don't talk to him. So he blamed me for what my father did to him. I wasn't even born when all this stuff was going on. But when you talk about my station and all this other stuff, yeah, they dealt with that in the family, but they want to keep everything a secret, want to keep everything hid. But I found out in later years what happened. Because when I was little, like he said, I heard this from 7, 8, 9 years old. I heard a whole lot.
Now, generational trauma can go both ways to an extent, right? Like what
Yeah.
what you've inherited in your DNA versus
Yeah.
the circumstances that you may or may not be in, whether it's
Yeah.
someone else's issue. But yeah,
Then I got a grandmama. She's 90 years old. She lived through all of it. But I get along with her to a certain extent. She's the type of person, when you talk to her about stuff, she goes and tells stuff. But she hated my father for what my father did to her grandson. But she don't like me either. But she, like we talking about tolerating,
Yeah.
she tolerates me because I'm her grandson. But if I wasn't her grandson, she would never talk to me in life.
yeah.
I ain't never told that story. I tried not to.
Well, thank
I'm
you for
so glad you
sharing.
did. I'm so glad you shared that. You just you just shined a really big light on a personal experience in my upbringing. That my mother's mother tolerated me and she did not accept me because I was my father's daughter. And that right there, I think, is why I have such a heart
They did my
tug for the
relationships.
word tolerate. Because being tolerated does not mean you're loved.
No,
It doesn't mean that you're treated with kindness necessarily. It may be kinder than what they could treat you if they really let their full judgment fly.
Yeah.
But toleration, I feel like definitely still leads to unkind energy aimed at you.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like when she was coming up, I really didn't go off on her. Like my two sisters, they went off on her. They would cuss her out and say that to her. But I was more like laid back and let her. You get me wrong, get me mad. I was a type. Man, I used to apologize. That was one of my problems. Yeah, and stuff like that. Yeah.
Hmm.
So yeah,
You weren't feeling this harmony then,
I
huh?
was feeling it. I'm feeling it now.
It looks so
Right.
pretty. I feel like you need to frame that and put it up
yeah, you need
somewhere
to frame
in
that. That'd
PRN.
be good.
No, seriously, like some of your
Yeah.
art,
It's
like
my harmony.
I love
Harmony.
it. If not, you better at least start giving them out to us
So
students.
like I
know,
when
told
you're
you,
super
my
famous.
aunt, she could. Well, my aunt died of cancer last month.
Oh gosh.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. She told me something right before she passed away. When she came to the house, I didn't know it was my last house. She said, "Dad, you got to do something for yourself." I said, "Well, I am. I'm not here finding a job. I'm out here doing some shit that you really got to get your own place to live in." But she been telling me for years. I was kind of like, but now since she's gone, I kind of see where she goes.
Yeah.
But that's generational.
Yes.
Because on the average, a rich man, they give their child a business, or a car, or a
Yeah.
house.
Yeah.
In different communities and different lineages and ethnicities.
I'm gonna scoot out while I have 5 minutes. I'm gonna
Yeah.
use the bathroom and then meet with
Yeah,
Aaron
we don't
Wells.
got
It was almost like the Great Reset, over and over.
I'm gonna scoot out to be someone else from PRN.
Oh,
But this
okay.
was awesome. It was nice meeting you
What's your
guys.
name
I'll be
again?
back. Ariel, like the mermaid.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, not too hard to remember.
I used to watch that movie growing up.
Good. 'Cause
Ari,
kids
not
now-
Ari.
Yes, it's Ari though. That's
Ari.
that's the confusing part.
I watched that movie. I watch it now, but they show it. I watched that growing up. Right, Beauty and the Beast and all that. I watched it.
I love it.
Right.
Do you know which room, which house
Yeah,
you
you'll
would
go
be in?
in the door that's
The
easy
blue
to
one?
see
Yeah.
from here.
Okay.
I think there's a 3 above it, and you'll probably go up the stairs that are right there.
Okay.
And you can also just be like, "Hey, where's Aaron?"
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah, for sure. Curtis, you mentioned something that I would like to shine a light on too. This generational stuff. How that can go in this way. Like, I've been given all of this land. I've been given the family business. I've been given all these things that others may perceive as gifts. And for me, what if it's a burden? What if I don't want it? Now I have to take care of it. I have to take care of this land, or I have to take care of this business. And if I don't, then I'm letting others down, and all this guilt and shame that can come even in areas where others may look at and not understand. Now, if I tell someone like, "Oh yeah, that house burned down, we now have nothing," people are so much more kind and accommodating to give us that love when we still may have the same underlying residuals of the trauma, which could be like guilt or shame or whatever. And it can be from all the things that were taken from us or that were put on our plates. So I think being able to honor that in everyone's lived experience, at least for me, can keep me more in this harmony vibe that I am intentionally focusing on. Ariel went in there, just so you know. Yeah, she just went up there. Yeah, it is in a former house, right? It's beautiful here. You should definitely come and check it out.
Good to see you.
So what words? I know that we've gotten forgiveness, tolerance, compassion. What are words, Daniel and Curtis, that are kind of coming up for you that would be your word, your touchstone word, to be something to go back to as you are reinventing who you are in this now moment?
I can go back. But if I can go back, I drove one of my friends away. I still think about it constantly. I try not to think about it. We all make mistakes. When somebody wants this person, they try to do everything to try to bring you down, put lies out there about you. But that's one of my, I can go back. I shouldn't have went out there with that person. I shouldn't have did that. But it came out that I said this about somebody, but it wasn't true.
Okay, so you have some like regret around maybe some things that you've said or done, right? So, does anybody else have any regrets in their life?
Yeah, I think that comes.
Okay, cool.
I
So
think
good.
it
So
comes
I'm not
with
the only
life.
one. Okay, good.
Regret
So
comes
not the
with
only
life.
one. Thank you. Okay, so check this out. So to live in regret is to hold ourselves back. It's to impede our recovery, our healing, our life force. If I'm looking at anything in my life in regret, thinking I should have done this, I should have done that, I should not have done this, and I should not have done that, then I will not be able to move forward in any progressive manner with the amount of ease that is rightfully mine. So remembering that, what word can be a focus to soothe these areas of regret?
Always love.
Love. Love is a huge one. Love like trumps everything for me. Like love. Yep. What else?
Healing.
Healing.
Yeah,
Healing.
like I did with you. I brought it that it wasn't that I didn't notice myself, but you put me, well, you know, like you say, you stand in the way of the bullet, you know, or you jump in front of the bullet. You jumped in front of the bullet. I don't know who to say, Marvin, or you know, I don't know who, but you made yourself when I was not even looking at you, and here come Alan, you know. And you the most intelligent person, you got the most wisdom. If you could see that I'm going through my shit.
Acceptance.
That's it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, when we're living in a place of
But
regret,
you was kindly trying
if
to
we
get
can
me to land my plane.
if we can pull in the remembrance and intention of acceptance, then regret starts to dissolve. I'm not going to just tolerate the choices that I made, because then I'm still going to be holding judgment on them. I'm still not going to like them. I don't have to like my decisions that I've made.
That's
However, if I can accept the decisions I've made, then I am more likely to make new decisions moving forward. If I'm still holding regrets for decisions I have made, I am, just quantumly speaking, more likely to make the same decision another time. When in fact I want to make a different decision. I want to be different. I'm reinventing myself, right? I'm
Yeah.
changing every day. So if I'm holding on to regret, then that's still in the forefront of my mind of what I shouldn't do, which makes me more likely to do it, because whatever
Yeah.
we resist persists all the time.
And that's what I did.
What? Okay. I'm gonna close this out, and I'm still gonna hang out here. I just realized that it's been an hour, which is nuts.
Hey,
Okay.
I'm gonna say one thing.
and I
They
use the
say-
facility. Came back.
You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink.
Right.
Like goats to make you thirsty.
You can lead a horse to water and you can't make it drink.
Oh,
So
that
my
is a power.
my desire would be to make the horse thirsty.
Make the horse thirsty.
That's brilliant.
Run him
Okay.
a little bit.
Thank you all so much for tuning in. I hope that you have been doing something creative and been enjoying this conversation around how to reinvent ourselves and grow. I created harmony,
I'm sorry.
as you can see,
And you look boss.
and it'll be somewhere. I'm going to be taking a lot of these things that are created here at Farmers Resource Network from the old location and from this new location, and I'm going to be putting them all together, almost like a mural, a cohesive community piece. So if you do join in, just know that you can be a part of something bigger. If you come here for anything, you're going to be a part of something bigger. So I love you. Thank you for tuning in. I will see you all on another now. Okay, bye.